Playing through the Mega Man series with my friends over the past 9 months has been an enjoyable era of life, even if most of the games haven't lived up to the absolute amazing experience that is Mega Man X. However, Mega Man 3 and 4 get much closer than any of the other games my friends and I have played. The major increase in quality that these two games represent makes reviewing them separately impossible for me. You're watching Rayl Deal Games, and today I'll be doing my first ever Battle of the Best video, where I put two video games head to head, analyzing every key feature they each have to determine, as close to definitively as I can possibly manage, which is better. Mega Man 3 and 4 both had the unenviable task of following up the fan favorite Mega Man 2, and both innovated upon the Mega Man formula in crazy interesting ways, leading me to ask, which game is better? To answer this question, I've concocted a point system to determine which game is overall better designed. The system is simple. Each game can earn a maximum of 2 points for each Robot Master stage, and whether a game receives or doesn't a point per level is determined by whether the level was fun to play on a blind first playthrough and upon a more optimized replay. To prevent the possibility of a tie, because I don't know about all of you, but I personally get really annoyed when a creator refuses to establish a winner, such as what happens at the end of Freddy vs. Jason and the AVP films. I have several other metrics where each game is actively going to be competing against each other for the possibility of one single point. Those other metrics are: how fun are the post-Robot Master levels and bosses, weapon viability, innovation to the Mega Man formula, music, the balance between difficulty and fun, and art direction. Obviously, objectivity in video game juxtapositions is literally impossible, so this video is going to be the culmination of my experience with each game and that of my friends, John and Ryan, who you all have met in various videos on the channel. On the editing back end, my friend Jeremy shared his thoughts about some of the game's decisions, and while he'll never show up directly in the video, I took his impressions as a bystander into account too. In the end, my friend's impressions primarily impact the Robot Master evaluations, as there were times where I found a level fun that they didn't, and vice versa, which does impact the amount of points each game gets. This brings the grand total of possible points a game can receive to 39, making a tie truly impossible while also maintaining the possibility to show true nuance in the value differential between the games. And with that, alrighty. You guys, if you're ready, we're ready to go. I've already started the gameplay.
I've been ready, but this bitch here's trying to fucking smoke gum.
I'm a beach. I'm trying to smoke gum.
We got recorded. We can blacklist.
It's Year of the Snake.
It is the Year of the Snake, really.
Holy shit.
You gotta choose Snake Man.
That's what he picked, actually, already. Snake Man's level is where we started Mega Man 3, and the level shows off some of the impressive enhancements the Capcom dev team were able to do with color palettes and such coming out of Mega Man 2. Now, this level doesn't show off a true advancement in the same way Mega Man 2 did coming out of the first game, but it does show that Capcom was experimenting with the art direction Mega Man as a franchise could move in. The real standouts of this level are the unique enemies present in the stage, a core feature of Mega Man level design pretty much since the first game in the franchise that this game continues. This level is essentially a turret defense type level since all of the snakes in the stage are little more than turrets. However, there are two enemy types that are major standouts in this level: the pole vaulters and the cloud shrouded bullet bills. The pole vaulters are clearly designed with the idea that the player would have mastered the new slide mobility tool in Mega Man's movement kit, but since this was our first level in Mega Man 3, we were terrible at managing these guys. On my second playthrough, I did realize that these enemies are some of the easiest in the game to manage, as you're able to just stand still, aim to the left, and rapid fire to kill them immediately. Something my friends and I wouldn't know about for our entire first playthrough of this game is the rapid fire ability tied to the second face button, meaning we played the whole game only using boss weapons and the base Mega Buster. This is because we played on PS5, so we didn't really have the tactile communication of the NES controller. Playing vintage games on modern hardware usually means that most buttons go unused, used, so we just never tried out a Netherface button, which definitely impacted the overall challenge of this stage, especially since it is how we started out Mega Man 3. As such, we died a lot, and the way we managed passing the controller in the context of our couch co-op setup is by passing upon death or the successful completion of a level. Since Snake Man stage was John's first pick, that meant that he was forced to play the stage way more than the rest of us.
We should stop saying
Replay the level.
Fuck you.
No,
Your turn, John.
you die.
Follow the
You
rules,
pick-
John.
Follow the rules, Johnny.
No,
Here
I'm
we
gonna
go.
gift this to you, Ryan.
No gift.
No.
You've given me so much.
Eventually, we made it to the final frames of the stage, which surprisingly takes place in the sky. In many ways, this particular area of Snake Man's stage reminds me of Airman's level from the second game. It definitely reuses the cloud sprites from the previous game for sure. Triggering our original Mega Man PTSD was the way Ryan fell right through one of the platforms at one point, which I suspect was because of the platform despawning beneath his feet. Hey, you didn't dissipate through it. Yes, you did.
Timing is amazing.
Yes, you did.
Also, I hate the fact that very soon. How'd that happen? Oh wait, never mind. Damn it.
This game manages memory far better than the previous two games, as many things are able to leave the playable space and then return later, like the jumping enemies from the beginning of the stage. The fact that these platforms specifically disappear makes me think that Mega Man 3 is really capping out the memory available on the NES hardware, the memory that the Capcom dev team knew how to tap into anyway. After sleuthing our way through Snake Way, we entered the nesting area of Snake Man.
Colonel.
It's a room of snakes.
Snakes.
I'm a snake. That's right, snake.
Have you been taking your meds, Snake? No. They make me feel weird, Colonel. I don't feel myself, Colonel.
Nope.
Open your snack pack, snake.
You want yourself. Have you ever had a Snickers?
A snaker? Right off the bat, Snake Man shows how Capcom began to experiment with boss design. Bosses in the first two Mega Man games typically fall into two archetypes, Zoner and Rushdown. Zoner bosses usually sit around and just shoot, like Iceman or Airman. Rushdown bosses constantly try to clip the player, like Electman, with their body. In Mega Man 3, these archetypal boss designs still exist, but Capcom tried to create stuff that is also new, such as the way Snake Man runs back and forth. He tries to shoot and he tries to clip the player with his body, but he doesn't exclusively do one or the other. Snake Man has two primary moves, shooting his snake children, who slither upon the ground, and changing his hitbox when he falls out of a jump, his tail essentially functioning like a spike.
Oh, he's got his tail gun. Well,
Yeah.
this is a lost
That's the why he had the snake head and not the dog head, so he could have the tail.
So the stupid tail above him hits you. It's part of his hitbox.
The design of this boss led my friends and I to have separate impressions of his mechanics, as I was left with the impression that he was learnable, John was 50-50 on that idea, agreeing in some ways but not in others, and Ryan was firmly against. The various ways in which we perceive this boss is actually pretty interesting, and I feel this attests to the design of this game coming out of Mega Man 2.
That's the
You
issue.
jumped him there. Nice.
Yes, you can jump him. The issue is that's the
Oh,
timing.
that was close.
That's
that was
my
close. That
timing
was
you have
close.
to get.
That was very close, though. You almost had... He's learnable.
Fuck you, Brian.
Hey,
Fuck you,
what
Brian.
what do you mean?
the
What do you
classic
mean?
learnable.
You're like you're actually killing him.
Really learnable.
You're actually killing him. What do you mean? You almost had
I
him.
know. It's just frustrating.
He's
Okay.
learnable.
He's learnable. Just look at that. See, he's actually learning it.
He's not hitting you.
He's paying attention.
He's not hitting you. Right, you have to hit him too.
He did.
You can't just dodge
He
him.
traded up. It was too
Look,
damage high.
he's already dropped
He
it.
did it, Ryan. He did it right in front of you.
He's already dropped his technique and now it's not working.
Look, he's winning though. He's winning right now in front of us.
He's learnable.
Johnny is winning right now.
he's
What do you mean? John, 4
He's not
hits. That's
doing
all you
anything
gotta
in
do.
particular.
You just gotta do 4 hits, John. Look at that. Sick. That was so cool, Ryan. You learned the boss.
Yeah. That skill was attainable. I learned
using
how
his-
he moved.
He's using his teacher voice. He's just like, who's a good boy?
Who's a good man? He got an A+ on the boss. Oh, God. He's gonna pass the final with these skills.
You should put a gold star on John every time he beats
Oh, I could have slid there.
Over each eye. Now beat him
There,
out,
that's the only way I win.
Simba.
Snake Man is clearly not intended to be the first boss the player is meant to fight. He's weak to Hard Man's weapon, which does a good job at catching him out of his jumps, while allowing the player to more or less stay stationary the whole time. In our first playthrough, we kinda got stuck on him, causing us to game over and over again. Considering the way our controller passing lined up, John had to fight the boss one more time than the rest of us, leading him to seek emotional support.
Oh, fuck, stop dodging my bullets, you little shit.
Yeah, if you would have got a lucky volley there, I think that would
So
fucking
close.
goddamn.
You were very close there.
I almost had it. I need emotional support, elephant.
Okay. No.
I'm scared. Do you need help? Do you need to touch this emotional support elephant?
No.
Touch it.
No.
Touch the elephant support. Touch his trunk. Stroke it. Good. Feel his power go through you.
Clearly this cuddle sesh worked as John ended up killing the boss.
Audience, listen to me. This is your chance.
Coffee go table.
I'm calling for help.
Season.
Send the police. Brian has me in his basement.
Oh, no.
Yes, we did it! And all it took was getting rid of Brian.
You won?
It was so easy.
Wait, you what? In the end, none of us were mega fans of Snake Man's level on our blind playthrough. However, on my solo second run, I actually kinda liked the design of this level. This is going to give Mega Man 3 one of 2 of its potential points, which is not a bad place to start out. Now, the way we're going to approach comparing these games is by going back and forth between them, discussing each of the 8 robot masters in that way. So with that, let's talk about the first Mega Man 4 boss my friends and I tackled, Skull Man. This wasn't intentional or anything, because my friends and I literally did go through both games guideless and back to back, but it is a funny sort of irony that Skull Man's stage mirrors the art direction design of Snake Man's, in that both use their theme, either Snake or Skull, for the sprite work on the stage. It's literally just like the first level of the last game. Skull Man's stage does utilize the skull theming of the boss better in the unique enemies, as the bone-throwing, resurrecting Skull Knights are cooler than the snake turrets from Snake Man's stage. Interestingly enough, the Skull Knights teach the player to use the new charged Mega Buster shot to destroy them, which is cool. Snake Man's stage did a decent job of testing the player's sliding mastery, but in this way, we did kind of luck out by picking Skull Man first in Mega Man 4. His stage is far more beginner-friendly in terms of how it wants the player to use the innovative mechanics in Mega Man 4 over how Snake Man's stage is designed. Considering the inclusion also of bats, skull turrets, and bugs, Skull Man's stage does a better job in terms of overall level theming. Somewhere in each stage in Mega Man 4, there is this super Chad bot that gives the player some kind of resource, either health, weapon energy, and extra life, or an E-Tank. All of these are good, but obviously the E-Tank is the best thing. Skull Man 2 is much easier than Snake Man, and it does seem that Capcom started coming up with more complex AI for their bosses. He shoots at the player, tries to bait out charged Mega Buster blasts with his shield, and doesn't just bum rush the player at all times. This is the first sign of good boss design that Mega Man 4 would prove to have in spades. He's weak to Dust Man's power, which shoots out a heap of junk that explodes outward in an X shape. I think this weapon is paired with Skull Man because of the whole dust to dust thing that is usually said at eulogies, but I'm not really sold on this connection either. The actual projectile spread of the Dust Crusher doesn't really line up with Skull Man. His secondary weakness is Frogman's Acid Rain weapon, which makes more sense to me, and I do wish that it was his primary weakness. John would kill Skull Man on our co-op playthrough. I was so concerned.
What? Is he coming back? He's like, I'm a skeleton, I can't die.
We unanimously liked this level on our conjoined playthrough, but upon replay, I did find this level to be less exciting than others in both games, which is going to put the games at point parity with 1 point each. This is a good place for both games to start out, but eventually one of them is going to have to top the other. My first playthrough of every game I play is done completely guideless. I find playing games guideless an important part of improving the experience. However, after that first playthrough, I have no problem with looking up things I've missed for subsequent runs. As such, I was not surprised at all to learn that Top Man is typically the recommended boss for players to start Mega Man 3 with, as his stage is pretty easy and the boss itself is one of the easiest Mega Man bosses, at least in the mainline series, I've played so far. Top Man's levels opening areas can be pretty tough if you rush through them, as my friends John and Ryan learned upon our first attempt at the stage.
Oh no, it's an ink. Is it literally just a goddamn screw and nut that it attacks you?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
Bro.
They can't kill. You can't kill them.
No.
Use the snakes.
Can't be. Do I have to use the snakes on the frogs? Is that what it is?
I do love the interesting approach Capcom took with enemy designs coming out of Mega Man 2. That game was loaded with cute animal type enemies, but this game is a little more inventive and uses Mega Man's focus on robots a bit better. What I'm talking about is perfectly shown with the nut and bolt enemy type, as that's the sort of enemy that doesn't and can't really show up in any other sort of game. That's not to say cute animals don't show up in this game, as this happened right after John made it through the hallway full of construction Mets.
See, you go under.
John is my favorite John. John is my favorite John. John is my favorite John.
You know it. Oh god. He
John,
tries
my
shotting
favorite
me.
John.
Stop. Don't look good. It's not a good look.
What's not a good look?
You say you're ah, cat.
That's a good enemy.
Can I shoot
like
those?
that.
Can I shoot those? No.
You're just trapped in this hell pit.
John, do you?
Stop.
And this level has 2 of these giant cats, and the second one is actually pretty different from the first, as he uses fleas to attack the player.
Ah!
That's a cat!
We already dealt with a cat. Oh, this is actually
Not
crazy.
as bad as the last one.
What the fuck? Are those fleas? Is it attacking me with fleas? That's horrifying.
The flea cat does not have flea bots. Shut up.
And these robots aren't the only things that make this level special, as the top throwers, which are remodeled versions of the air blower bots from Airman stage in Mega Man 2, help with the theming of the stage. In fact, there are really only 2 things in this level that evoke the spinning top theme of the boss. These bots, which only show up a handful of times, and the spinning top platforms right before Top Man's door are the only things centered on that spinning top motif.
Bone mass declining.
It uses my own bones to make this. Please.
Have we gotten
kill
this far
me.
yet?
No.
Oh god, fuck this.
Oh, if you're... Ryan's turn.
I wasn't confident enough and I got punished.
And to be honest, this platforming section is my favorite aspect of the stage. I kind of wish this element of Top Man stage would have been pushed a bit further, as this section does serve to teach the mechanic of spinning top platforms to the player, yet there isn't an advanced implementation of these things anywhere else in the level. This isn't like a big deal or anything, it's just a missed opportunity in my opinion. I suppose I could see the argument for the cats fitting the theme as well, since it's like they would bat things around, almost like if a spinning top was in front of them, they would just bat it off a ledge or something. That'd be a little bit of a flimsy justification in my opinion though. Top Man himself is the easiest boss I've talked about so far. Like most of the bosses in these 2 games, he has 2 actions. 1, he shoots 3 tops out that act like homing missiles after a certain period of time has passed. And 2, he spins like a top towards the player, essentially just switching which side of the arena he's on. He does these 2 actions back and forth, and while the timing of each is slightly different, the overall loop of the boss is the same each time, thereby making him extremely learnable and enjoyable to fight. Top Man is weak to Needleman's power, but it's not like that's particularly necessary. On my solo playthrough, I used the rapid fire shot in conjunction with some healthy barrel stuffing to delete his health bar in quick order. In the end, Top Man stage, boss design, and enemy assortment makes it the most enjoyable aspect of both of these games so far, meaning Mega Man 3 gets 2 more points, 1 for the blind playthrough and 1 for my second run, putting Mega Man 3 at a total of 3 points so far. The thing is, Mega Man 4 also has no shortage of fantastic levels, as my friends and I would learn during our time with Pharaoh Man. The theming of a level is super important, and this is something that really stands out about Pharaoh Man's level. As the name of the Robot Master would suggest, this is an ancient Egyptian themed level. Starting out, the player is greeted with sandy scorpion assassins, and the physics within this section of the game are on point. Jumping is the best way to stay out of the sand, and I've always liked this quicksand mechanic in platformers. It adds a real nice tension to the game's pace, sort of forcing the player's hand into moving quickly at the expense of their ability to play carefully. At the end of this area, there's a hole that leads into the dark depths of Pharaoh Man's domain below, but the opening to the right is where I thought I had to go, and this would have led me to a secret mobility tool, something that would allow Mega Man to float up on a little balloon, but I missed my rush pad falling down the main progression path below.
I blame Ryan.
Let's see.
Oh,
Thank God.
oh, okay.
That was funny. That was funny. That was amazing.
My friends and I didn't know there were secrets in this game, so we were none the wiser to the fact that I was so close to finding something special. Down here, the theming of the enemies is pushed even further with the mummy types. These things are legitimately so cool because of the way they rip their heads off as if they're a assorted sort of Beyblade.
Oh God! What the fuck?
As the foreboding depths of the pyramid envelop the player, it's only natural that spikes would dot the floors, acting as death traps for the invading tomb raiding player. Damn
God,
it. Look at
why
that,
is-
that was good though.
Yes, but also.
I know. But that's still better than how it's been.
Baby John doesn't like the spikes.
Why does no one? You're supposed to like suffering. It's cool.
The enemies are thematic.
The
The areas have the sauce and have all this detail and look good.
I have to say, I do like the design. That area, though, I don't like this right here. These things.
It plays crispy. It's got cool. Look at those cool torches.
And this is something the mainline Mega Man series was able to do better than some of the later X games, such as X6.
Specialized enemies. Instead of just that DNA.
Oh
DNA
yeah,
guy
that was so garbage. Where they're
Just
like,
like-
use only DNA guy.
plastered everywhere.
At first, Pharaoh Man himself reminded us a bit of Elect Man, with the way he sprints at the player, periodically shooting his power. The difference is that while Pharaoh Man appears at first to be bum rushing the player willy-nilly, there is a pattern to his attacks, a method to his mummy madness. John would defeat him during our first playthrough.
He jumps to where you are.
Don't jump under him.
But he's not constantly doing it, so that's the thing that I think is difficult, that thing that he
thank
just
God.
did. So yeah, he was
actually
very
not that
good.
Bullshit,
bad.
boss.
He actually wasn't that bad at all. Fixed
No.
jumping mechanic.
That was actually not that bad.
Figured it out when he went to figure out that he actually jumps to where you are, means you actually react.
Yes,
to him.
he's
Yeah.
learnable. It's not just a bunch of bullshit.
He's not literally a
He
boss
does
who just
some
sprints at
platform.
you.
He does predictable things
Type.
Yeah.
that can be understood.
Yeah, as opposed to just jump in your general direction with unavoidable damage.
And personally, I like Pharaoh Man's mechanics. It really demonstrates the experimentation and game design Capcom has always been great at. He's weak to Flash Stopper, which freezes him right in his tracks. From here, it's a simple matter of machine gunning the sorry sod right back into his burial mound.
No. Wait.
All in all, this level and boss are great, earning Mega Man 4 2 points for a total of 3. At this point, it's going to be hard for one of these games to pull ahead of the other. Hardman's level has this underground, earthy vibe to it, and it kind of functions as the mining level of Mega Man 3. Starting out, this level is loaded with bees, and because we would die a few times to Proto Man later in the stage, we would have to run through the swarm several times.
Round 1. Fight.
If I keep running, I don't have to worry about it, right?
I don't know if that's true.
If I keep running, I don't have to worry about it.
I feel like this is a problem.
I know what you're talking about. Everything's fine.
Round 2. Fight.
John
I
used
used all of it in a single fucking.
The bees, help. No. Don't.
Shoot.
The bees will follow me to the abyss. No.
Use the puppy.
Round 3. Fight.
Brian versus a single bee. Who will win? The bee, apparently.
That bee, get his ass. Get his.
That was pathetic.
And the savage stinging these bees gave me really made me feel like Cage in The Wicker Man and Macaulay Culkin in My Girl.
Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees!
There's a kind of poetic justice to this though, because I'm pretty notorious for abusing the bee death trap in Ultimate Chicken Horse. After this, the player has to navigate through these mines, climbing up the crest of this mountain facility, before dipping back downward to Hardman's boss room.
I just choose not to deal with it.
You're doing my strategy.
I learned from Brian.
That's how I deal with everything.
Oh, monkey! Fuck that, God!
Monkeys are a weird enemy type to put underground like this, but at least the forklift driving Mets make some sense.
See, if you ever want to try... Hey, kids, and remember this. If you want to stop a forklift and you have a gun, shooting a forklift doesn't do anything. But if you shoot the driver...
the forklift dies.
We learned.
The forklift blows up with the driver. This is the first level where my friends and I came across Pharaoh Man, a new addition to the Mega Man mythos in this game. His boss fight is pretty lackluster though, as he just hops and shoots in the direction of the player. On my replay of this game, I learned that you can just keep pace with his hops, barrel stuff, and let loose machine gun fire to finish him off in 1 or 2 cycles. On our first playthrough, he did kill us a few times as we tried to get the hang of his mechanics. And at this point, we're a decent way into this video, so if you're liking it so far, I'd very much appreciate a like. I love discussing video games, and I'd love to have a discussion with you in the comments below, even if you don't agree with the ultimate conclusion I come to in this video. And you know, liking and subbing is the only way to save John.
Like and subscribe or John gets it.
Or John gets the hose again.
Gets the hose again.
The 2 things Hardman does is dive into the ground, freezing the player for a brief moment, or shoot out rocket punches as if he's doing his best Android 16 impression.
Rocket punch!
This guy did take burning an E-Tank on our first playthrough, but his magnet missile weakness made him simple enough to dismantle on my second run through the game. I personally didn't hate this boss on either of my playthroughs, and my friends and I did enjoy the level on the first playthrough. My second playthrough did make me like this level a little less, so Hardman is going to earn Mega Man 3 1 point, bringing the game's total to 4. With Hardman broken down to dust, it's time to talk about Dust Man. It's been a while since we've been to a trash-themed level. Technically, Dustman's stage is the first junk-themed one, but John and I already played Mega Man X2 by this point. Pound for pound, X2's trash level on Morph Moth's stage is better, but Dustman's zone isn't half bad. I'll get into the music of both of these games at a later time, but it is worth noting that Dustman's theme does replicate this dusty sound, which is pretty cool. I love it when music matches the stage at hand, and this is one of the more creative ways the NES sound chip has been used in a game. After a short, easy opening room, there's this section where the player has to jump from blocks that form in front of them, while also dodging these ladybug enemies. These things are actually kind of interesting because they will detach themselves from their wings to spin and home in on the player. I found these things kind of tough to deal with on my first playthrough, so on my second, I made sure to have Dive Man's homing missiles for this level. They work alright, but honestly, Dive Man's weapon is a bit of a liability at times because of the way the tracking on it works. After this, the trash compactor section of the level is next, and this is what I was really looking forward to when we first saw the theme of the stage. I love tense moments in games where you've got to make it through an area under the time constraint and pressure of potentially being smushed by hydraulic presses. This particular area has a hilarious glitch where if the player is hit by this one particular Met, the hit stun will force the player across this section of presses, possibly killing them instantly.
Pardon me?
This is a good game. It's a
Every
good
part
game,
of this
everyone.
game's at least 50 times better put together.
We all agree it's a good game.
You just get bitch slapped through a wall.
It's hard as that anybody's ever been killed by one of those enemies.
Interestingly enough, this doesn't always result in an instant death, as I accidentally recreated this glitch on my personal playthrough, and it actually just allowed me to avoid this entire section of presses. I wouldn't be shocked to learn that this is a speedrunning strat. Now personally, I love Dustman's boss design. He's got an incredibly easy projectile to dodge, as the player just needs to jump straight up to avoid it. Timing is key, but with one well-placed jump, Dustman's attack is trivialized, which makes his ability as a boss match the trash theming of the stage. He can also become invincible for a brief time, and while he sucks the player in.
Explode. He died doing what he loved, sucking.
He's weak to Ring Man's Ring Boomerang, which I suppose makes sense since it's like the ring clogs his vent face. This stage is incredibly solid and is capped off with a cool boss, meaning it earns 2 points for Mega Man 4 as the stage was quite enjoyable on both the blind and second playthroughs. This brings Mega Man 4 up to 5 total points, putting it 1 point ahead of Mega Man 3. We'll just have to see if it can maintain that lead. Needle Man is the boss my friends and I did not agree on. Both John and Ryan did not like him, but I did. Now, his level starts out with these spiked turtles that neither Ryan or John liked all too much, which definitely didn't set a good first impression for the stage. Spam
Except if they're up there, so it's really difficult.
and then he'll do that.
Okay, he just goes straight towards you. He rolls at you.
So if you're on even with him,
Oh, God.
Suffer, Ryan.
Please stop.
If you die here, Ryan has to do this, and you can
That's
stop being
true.
an asshole about it.
no, I'm gonna love every second of this.
Oh, sure,
It's
yeah.
almost great.
Oh man, that was
Welcome
very
to-
funny. As time went on, Ryan began to turn around, at least on the stage, and did like the color palette and some of the sections of the level, such as the parts loaded with Mets. This is a fun level, guys. I like this level. This is pretty cool.
It has a nice color palette that's soft on my
Oh,
eyes.
it's that guy again!
My eyes feel relaxed looking at the screen right now.
I think Ryan always tells the truth, I think.
Thanks. What do you mean? No, these colors are nice.
See,
I like the
He
nice
always-
light yellow and green.
he always
happening.
tells the truth all the time.
But the big thing that really ruined the level for my friends was Needle Man. Playing through this game guideless definitely put us on the back foot because we had to beat him without Gemini Laser, which is challenging.
I fucking hate this so
What do you
much.
mean? This is cool, man. Look, he's throwing needles everywhere.
John's boss is pretty cool.
This is an epic fight for the ages. Dodge under. Okay.
I did what you said, Ryan. It didn't work. What do you mean, Ryan? Ryan!
Maybe we should have a weakness.
I
here and
trusted.
there.
Yeah, honestly, this is one of the bosses I'm really like. This is one of those bosses I'm fighting. I'm kneeling. My brain's like, fuck this.
The big trick is that there's a very brief window of dodge opportunity in between sets of needles, but the timing on this is incredibly tricky. Needle Man also will jump near the player and attack with a spike contraption hidden within his guts. This ability suite is actually the main reason I like Needle Man, because I found this design to be a proper innovation upon the bosses present in the first two Mega Man games. He blends the two archetypes of Mega Man boss design together in this way, and he does so without jumping on the player every 2 seconds. Jumping near the player instead of on them is a big difference, even if it doesn't seem so at first glance. Ryan would end up defeating Needle Man on our first playthrough with just 1 pip of health remaining. So I am consistently getting through his needles though.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
I can get through with the right angle.
There's actually a very, if it depends on how far away you are from him. If you're like mid, like right here-ish or further, there's actually space in between each needle to jump. It's
Ryan!
oh yes,
You fucking Giga Chat.
you did it, nice. What a boss to kill too. That was good.
Yeah.
On my second playthrough, Needle Man's weakness, Gemini Laser, really trivialized the fight. Once the laser is shot, it's just a matter of time before it hits Needle Man, which means the player can focus exclusively on dodging his attacks. A lot of Needle Man's difficulty is rooted in how hard it is to avoid his attacks, while also dealing damage in incremental amounts. It's no surprise that he is typically recommended as the final boss in the Robot Master order. Needle Man kind of ruined this whole section of Mega Man 3 for John and Ryan, but I enjoyed the boss and level so much on both of my playthroughs that I have no choice but to give the max amount of 2 points to Mega Man 3, which puts the game at a total of 6. And at this point, you all know the drill, so let's move on to Mega Man 4 once again. Drill Man's level is the underground theme level of Mega Man 4. I found this level to be a bit less interesting than Hard Man stage in Mega Man 3, especially with how much fun the bees gave my friends and I. The most interesting element of Drill Man's stage is the area where the player progresses through the stage by turning on lights and avoiding these boulder dropping vents from above. Skull Man's barrier is the best way of blanking the damage from these things, but my friends and I didn't notice this on our first playthrough. On my second playthrough, I did Skull Man's level level last, so I didn't have this power, which meant that I had to get through this area without anything to make it easier on both of my playthroughs. It's really to the credit of Mega Man 4's replayability that interesting use cases for the Robot Master weapons like this exist within the game. The prospect of replaying the game with a different boss order is more appealing as a result. John would kill Drill Man on our first playthrough.
You're telling us to just jump over it.
Right.
So you dodge it.
Right.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah.
I only did because of Ryan's
Yeah.
advice. I jumped over him and the projectiles. It was that
I'm
easy.
just saying, you guys let him run you to the wall. He chases you with his little fucking drills all the way to this side of the wall where he fucks you. You gotta jump it over. Jump it on over.
Drill Man runs at the player, shooting out exploding drills while also periodically digging into the dirt to attack the player from below. He's kinda similar to Wheelgator and X2 in this way. However, I would say Drill Man is the better boss between the two overall. Drill Man is going to earn Mega Man 4 1 point, as my friends and I did enjoy the first playthrough. However, I wasn't a big fan of the stage on my solo sojourn. This brings Mega Man 4's total points to 6, tying up the scoreboard for the two games. In terms of the Robot Master levels, the close point value between the two games really attests to how well designed these first 8 stages are. I designed this point system to ultimately prevent a tie though, so we'll just have to see when these two games stop twinning.
I am myself a Gemini.
I was just gonna say magnet.
No.
Well, I can tell you're a Gemini. You have those traits that are like.
What does that even fucking mean?
It means
Are you
literally
a white chick?
Gemini Man stage is my favorite one in Mega Man 3, so it goes without saying that it earns Mega Man 3 2 additional points, putting its total score to 8. Now there's loads of reasons why I love this level, but the opening section here with the starry night sky, crystal texture work on the floor, and the eye enemies really impressed me on my first playthrough and managed to continue being aesthetically pleasing on my second. It matches the horoscope tone of Gemini Man's name as well, which is a flavor win.
Ryan's element is air, just so you know. Charisma.
I like these eye enemy guys. These are cool.
Uses humor as a crutch.
That is true.
Alright.
Maybe there is something
Hey,
to
hold,
this.
Hold on now.
Could talk to a brick wall.
No.
Arguments is flirting.
Oh, that's why he's. Yeah, I get it now. Why he argues with me all the time.
He just wants
Okay,
you.
but also find a cancer or something, and I'll apply myself.
Knows
to
a
that.
little bit of everything.
Look up cancers, and I'll easily find myself in that or something. Look up a Leo or whatever.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna
Look
be
up anything. I'll find.
It's
What
gonna
are
be
Gemini's
hard to
weaknesses?
find.
Gemini is afraid of being alone. This is why they tend to have large social circles and always have a companion. They're not afraid of their emotions. Geminis aren't a rush to get anywhere.
I don't know. We're on to something here.
Gemini and sex and love and romance. How to seduce a Gemini. Leave a note in their jacket pocket that says, I'm into you. Okay. Would that work, Ryan?
Would that work, Ryan? Is that what Heidi did?
She got you.
Sorta.
Write your own horse. Okay, guys, I'll learn how the boss fights by literally reading this. How do Geminis fight? Geminis
Oh my god.
They fight like they talk, with a stream of consciousness, barrage of arguments and
What are
witticisms.
you talking about? How do we fight?
Proto Man is on this level as well, but on both of my playthroughs I didn't need to fight him here. I always beat him before, so I think it adds to Mega Man 3's replayability that you can fight him here. Proto Man opens up the path to the birthing pools below, and while this whole Caviar Cataclysm section isn't remotely difficult, it is satisfying. Blasting open the eggs and killing the tadpoles within is incredibly enjoyable, and does provide the player with loads of chances to refill health and weapon tanks. All of this is great, but it's the next section that makes this stage truly one of my favorite Mega Man levels.
Oh.
Puppy, no!
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
You lose the power forever.
Brian has to make sure to play with me at every moment. Oh.
I'm just helping. Climb.
Oh.
You man!
You man!
You man! Why'd you do that?
Oh my fucking
I
god.
cracked under the pressure, okay? I bumped my little noggin, you know how it is.
You weren't in water, there wasn't any pressure.
God damn you,
I only
Ryan.
had you narrating my every play.
Okay, so if you get out of the dog, you lose the thing.
He's reaching his weapon, he's jumping, he's sliding.
Ryan's gonna go for the jump. He's going for the jump. Ah, he missed. Fuck.
Oh, what a loser
what
he
a
is.
disappointment.
I've never been so disappointed in my life about Ryan. That's very difficult.
Man, Brian, your nachos ain't got no meat, bitch. Classic insult. That's my iconic.
You might want to retry on that. You might want to get a better one.
Don't save that. Delete that.
You can delete it. Hit undo.
We didn't have Rush Marine on the first playthrough, which means we had to actually platform through this section, and I personally really loved the design of this area. The combination of dragonflies, bombarding fish bros below, and lack of foot space really creates a platforming challenge that I quite liked. On my second playthrough, I did have Rush Marine, which demonstrates how this level feels completely different based on the order in which the player chooses to play against the bosses, adding to this game's replayability. This part of the level alone is worth the 2 points Mega Man 3 gets from Gemini Man, but the boss is also not too shabby. He comes with a twin, and the trick is to attack the real Gemini Man while dodging both him and his double. This is actually the first boss in our co-op Mega Man 3 playthrough where we had the weapon he was weak to. Search Snake. Try Snake.
Snake sucks.
Right turn. Oh wait. Oh, that's it.
I knew I hated snakes.
Oh, you killed his buddy,
Die, bitch.
and now he's dead.
Ryan's killed more bosses than me.
I would also kill them with Search Snake on my personal playthrough as well, meaning I've never actually fought this boss without their weakness. I suppose that just gives me another reason to replay Mega Man 3 again though, doesn't it? And with that, let's dive right back into Mega Man 4. Water levels from the 80s and 90s really get too much hate. I kind of like them, and I always have. Most of the water levels suck critique comes from the NES TMNT game, Sonic, and the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time, but personally, the only one of these I ever found to be truly bad was the TMNT game's Electrified Water Maze of Doom. It's weird that in all the times I heard people call water levels bad, that Mega Man never comes into the discussion because this series has historically had great water levels. Dive Man stage in Mega Man 4 is crazy good and uses its water theming to maximum effect. There are interesting platforming challenges to manage with the fish, jellyfish, and spike pits, and this stage has 2 whale mini-bosses. This level actually has a secret mobility upgrade for Mega Man as well, and typically speaking, John is great at sniffing out secrets in platformers. His secret snoofer really let me down in our first playthrough of Mega Man 4, which means I really ought to put him down like he's my own personal old yeller.
No, Mama. There's no hope for him now, Travis.
This stage is actually the recommended one for players to start out with, as I was able to find online, and I disagree with this. I followed a recommended boss order on my second playthrough to see what other players potentially experience on their first playthrough, and there's no world in which I would recommend Dive Man stage first. It's a great level, and it's a cool way to get the wire adapter early since it is useful on many stages. However, Dive Man himself is a pretty tough boss to defeat with just the Mega Buster. Skull Man is much easier, and his barrier is Dive Man's weakness, so that's where I would recommend players start. Dive Man's secondary weakness is Dust Crusher, which is what my friends and I used to defeat him on our co-op playthrough. I would end up being the one to kill him that time.
Except for the fucking rocket's gonna. Oh yeah, well done.
If you're like one-on-one, just jump over his head a lot, it kind of works.
Yeah, that works, yeah.
And then if you hit the missile when it was in his face, you were going to hit him anyway.
He is consistent in how he reacts. I guess if you're able to lock him into staying in one spot as opposed to jumping around like a madman.
Mega Man 4 is getting 2 points from Dive Man, maintaining the tie between the two games at 8 points each. It's a tie that's going to break right open in the Boss 6 pairings. Just like water levels, sewer levels went through a period of time being memed on in the 2000s and 2010s because of just how common they were at the time. They're less common these days, but if I'm being honest, I like sewer levels in games. The dark catacomb vibe of these sorts of levels makes for a great adventure and sets up the hero of the game to go from the dregs of society to its highest heights. Shadow Man stage is the sewer level of Mega Man 3, and it doesn't really utilize this theme. There's frogs, grenade guys, 4 forklift Mets, and parachute pals. These enemies aren't poorly designed or anything like that, but they don't work with the theming of the stage. The parachute enemies are real standouts on this stage. Unique enemies like this are always nice additions and do change the platforming flow state the player enters.
Loses.
You're probably doing them a service by shooting them before they go into this shit water.
Like, hurry! Kill me!
Hey, John, guess what you have to deal with?
Kill me!
It's going quickly!
The dark sections of the stage do fit the ninja theme at least. While the enemies don't really fit the stage's theme, the level itself is pretty good, and by the end, this was one of Ryan's favorite stages from Mega Man 3. Shadow Man is weak to top spin, which literally makes no sense. But like, what would spinning like a top make sense as a weakness for anyway?
He dies to top so quick. It turns out that ninjas are bottoms. No.
On my personal playthrough, I wasn't a big fan of Shadow Man or his level, so he's only going to grab 1 point for Mega Man 3, putting that game at 9 points. With Ring Man as the next Mega Man 4 representative, one game is about to pull ahead of the other.
This is a great level.
This is a great level, I agree.
Ring Man's level is unanimously the favorite of myself, John, and Ryan from Mega Man 4, and we like it better than anything Mega Man 3 provides. Because of this, Mega Man 4 is obviously getting the 2 possible points from Ring Man's level, putting it at a total of 10 points. This puts Mega Man 4 ahead by 1 point, and there's loads of reasons why my friends and I began to love this stage as much as we do. Ring Man's stage starts with this cloudy climb into the stars above, and there's 2 enemies that really fit the theme of space and rings. Firstly, there's these floating mini Saturns that remind me of Interplay's old logo. Secondly, there's these eyeballs surrounded by rings that periodically shoot out the rings to attack the player. Both of these enemy types, and others that don't really fit the theme of the stage, such as the hippopotamus mini-bosses, are fantastic. In fact, Ring Man's stage allows the player to really use the full variety of their toolkit. My friends and I made the most of our available tools on our first playthrough, and on my second, I used different abilities to progress through the stage as well. We actually got stuck on this stage for longer than any other Robot Master one in Mega Man 4. But if you'd asked us back at the time we were playing, we wouldn't have been able to tell you that. That's how fun the level is. It didn't matter that we had to restart, and it didn't matter that John and Ryan used all of Dive Man's missiles before I got the chance to try the stage. Every single weapon has a use in this level, which meant that every time we died, there was always some cool new thing we were going to try. We passed the controller on death or the successful completion of a boss, which means that whenever an extra life is earned, it changes who gets to start out the stage with full resources upon game over. Usually this either doesn't matter, or when the stage isn't fun, it's a bad thing. But in Ring Man's stage, John getting a life elicited this reaction.
No!
Yes!
No!
Yes! We game over on Ryan instead!
I got a long life! No!
Restart the level.
You see, him getting a life here meant that we would end up game overing on Ryan's next turn, meaning that I would get to play the stage from the beginning with a full arsenal of weapons. And guys, I enjoyed the hell out of my opportunity to play the level with a full retinue of weapons. On my second playthrough, I got to use Rain Flush and Flash Stopper, which both had their uses. Flash Stopper is actually an excellent tool for dealing with the pissed off teleporter pad eyeball with rings thing, as it leaves the eyes exposed for a brutal pellet poking. Rain Flush is a nice tool against the hippos, which are honestly one of the most fun enemies to interact with in this game.
Damn you fucking Teletubby. Piece of shit.
Good morning, bastards!
Yeah, the Teletubby looking Ring Man is probably the least exciting part of the stage. He's not even a bad boss, he's just not as cool as the rest of his level. He's weak to Pharaoh Man's Pharaoh Shot, and John killed him quite quickly after we cycled a few times while learning his mechanics.
Yeah. If you don't like it, don't fucking. That was a good shot.
That worked out
That
really
was
well.
a good shot.
I don't think you planned it, but it was good.
The only thing about the charge shot, you can tell it's the first time they did the charge shot because of the weirdness where you think you're charging
But you're
And
not.
you're not.
Because it got canceled by something.
because it got canceled by something, which just doesn't happen in X. Ring Man stage may actually be the best individual Mega Man level my friends and I have ever come across. I'll have to think about it more because Mega Man X truly has some excellent levels too. We're coming up on the end of the Robot Master levels for both Mega Man 3 and 4. 2 remains for each, and if Mega Man 3 is going to pull ahead, Magnet Man and Spark Man will need to impress like Ring Man does. Magnet Man stage is loaded with attractive mechanics. There's 2 separate features of the stage where the player is pulled in or up by something. Early on, there's these magnets that fly parallel with the stage, pulling Mega Man up and over some of the death pits present in that area. Later, there's these giant absorbing turbines, which I bet are supposed to be some type of giant magnet, like the type that would be used in a particle accelerator. In this way, the atmosphere and environmental elements of the stage match the theming of magnets. The enemies don't really work with that theme, but at least it's better than the theming of Shadow Man stage. Proto Man is on this level too, and on both of my playthroughs I had to fight him here. Right after him, we were introduced to these rocket Roombas that also bounce around on a spring whenever Mega Man gets close.
Oh god! What? What the fucking rocket Roomba?
Rocket Roombas? Oh, mash!
Did it springs?
John was the one that chose this level during our co-op playthrough, and when I realized just how easy this stage was going to be, I contrived a means by which to ensure he'd be able to play the stage he chose. What do I do?
Shoot them! You couldn't fire?
No, I want you to play.
Okay.
It's your level, John. I don't want to beat your level. Unfortunately for old Johnny Boy, this stage has the disappearing block mechanic that we literally and legitimately all hate. Oh, great.
We're not
John, look at the level you chose.
This is a good level.
I know this is bound to keep coming up, but I've never once liked this mechanic in any of these Mega Man games. This game does give the player rush mechanics to be able to weasel their way by, but if that's how I'm going to deal with them each and every time, I'd rather they just not exist. Magnet Man himself is weak to Shadow Blade and Spark Shock. We used Shadow Blade to defeat him, and it played well with the way Magnet Man jumps around. All in all, he's a pretty good boss fight, with a decent level that has one mechanic that we all hate. It's well enough for us to reflect positively on the experience, earning Mega Man 3 a point, but it's not good enough to warrant a clean sweep of 2 points. This puts Mega Man 3 at 10 points, tying Mega Man 4 for now. If Toad Man yields any number of points, Mega Man 3 will be on the back foot once again. Toad Man's stage is the sewer level of Mega Man 4, and it is impressively better than Shadow Man's level in Mega Man 3. Starting out, the rain backdrop is impressive considering the NES hardware Mega Man 4 is designed for. Within the stormy cesspool of the whipping wet rain, wind blows the player backwards whenever they jump, which creates some interesting platforming sections within the first zone. Penguins fly above to bombard the player as if they are a prototype for the future design of Sergeant Bird in Spyro Year of the Dragon. The umbrella hat-wearing red Met-looking guys also fit the theming of the storm in a creative way. It really makes Toad Man's stage impress from the first frame, and after diving below the surface, Capcom implemented some environmental storytelling. It's slight, nearly insignificant even, but the rain flows into the sluiceway, sliding the player deeper into the sewer. Inside, rats hide behind waterfalls, which is pretty cool. These enemies don't show up in another Robot Master level, and that's one of the biggest things that makes Mega Man 4 stand out so much. Unique enemy types in each level is a cornerstone of the Mega Man franchise for me because of how I started with Mega Man X, and Mega Man 4 does this element of Mega Man design better than any of the mainline games up till this point. There's an argument that could be made that Mega Man 2 is on the same level in this particular regard, and if someone made that claim, I wouldn't argue. Both games are on point in their theming, and both do this particular element of Mega Man design better than Mega Man 3. Toad Man himself is probably the easiest boss in Mega Man 4. He jumps at the player, wiggles his stomach, and summons acid rain. The thing is, the player can stop Toad Man from summoning the rain by shooting a boosted Buster Shot right into his stomach. In this way, Toad Man is a scriptable boss, making him a good option as the first boss in a playthrough. I would still suggest Skull Man over him, just because of how that helps provide the player with the ability to nab a mobility tool in Dive Man's stage right afterward. While Toad Man isn't particularly exciting, his stage is fantastic, earning him the maximum maximum number of points. This gives Mega Man 4 a firm lead with a total of 12 points. With one Robot Master left per game, Sparkman and Brightman are all that remains before we go to the final rounds. He's literally a plug-in for an outlet.
That's amazing.
This level looks like shit.
He's like, I'm ready to burn your
This
house down.
looks not good.
Well, immediately
Ugh.
judgmental again.
This looks
Ryan at it.
bad.
Oh, great.
I mean, this is cool.
There you go. There you go.
Oh,
Clap,
mind.
everyone, clap!
Never mind, this looks great. I'm only having a mild seizure.
oh gosh.
Just a mild Caesar.
Other than the fact that the flashing lights are a bit rough on the eyes, Sparkman's level is actually pretty sweet. It allows the player to make good use of rush, the plug-in enemies are sick, and the nut and bolt enemies return. I especially love the platforming section near the end of the stage where the player is shot towards the ceiling the instant they step on the arrow platforms. It's a nice challenge, especially when the player tries to start out on Sparkman's stage. This is something I tried just to see how this level would feel without Robot Master weapons or Mega Man's mobility tools, and it is definitely more challenging, yet the fun remains. It's the sign of a well-designed level when this is the case. Sparkman himself is an incredibly fair and learnable boss too, even though I would definitely not recommend somebody new to the game start out with him. Because of how fun the stage is despite its ugly appearance and Sparkman's mechanics, Mega Man 3 is getting 2 more points, putting it at a total of 12 points. Interesting level design elements is something Mega Man 4 also manages to have with Brightman's stage. Brightman's stage has the most unique mechanic in a mainline Mega Man game, at least out of the ones I've played so far. 2 enemies determine whether the stage is a light and alright, or dark and dangerous. Essentially, the light bulb enemies, once shot, shroud the player in stifling shadows, whereas the firework enemies set the world alight once more. This is one of the coolest things I've seen in one of these games, and in some ways, it reminds me of the blinking lights in Spark Mantrel's stage should the player defeat Storm Eagle first in Mega Man X. Capcom's developers even teach how these things work by sending them after the player one at a time within a completely safe section of the level. This allows the player to learn the mechanic before it becomes paired with tricky platforming and enemy compositions. Darkness in games is something I personally like to see, and it's something that's fairly rare. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, Demon's Souls, and the Dark Souls series play with player visibility in ways that I love, and seeing this restriction explored in an action platformer like Mega Man is incredibly nice to see. This mechanic is paired with this platforming section later in the game where the player has to jump from swinging platform to swinging platform while dodging bombs dropped by the light bulb enemies. Killing these guys allows the player to slow down at particular times in the section. However, visibility is shot if the player chooses to do this. Brightman himself is pretty simple. At certain health thresholds, Brightman will freeze the player and either shoot them or jump on them. Apparently there's a way of scripting the boss so that he won't do this, but we never figured out the right timing for this. Brightman's stage is crazy interesting, but I have to say neither me nor my friends liked this boss. Because of this, Brightman is going to yield 1 point for Mega Man 4, giving it a total of 13 points. To recap, this puts Mega Man 3 at 12 points, just 1 point lower than Mega Man 4. There are 7 more categories to cover. 1. How does the dark stages in Mega Man 3 compete against the Cossack Castle in Mega Man 4? 2. Which game has the better Wily Castle? 3. Overall difficulty. 4. Music. 5. Art direction. 6. Innovation. And 7. Overall weapon viability. In each of these sections, only 1 point is available, which means one game can feasibly win within each category. Mega Man 3 and 4 both have mid-game stages that act as a stopgap between the Robot Master levels and Wily's Castle. In Mega Man 3, there are 4 dark stages, which are harder versions of 4 levels: Gemini Man, Spark Man, Shadow Man, and Needle Man stages. In the middle and at the end of each is a dock robot possessed by one of the bosses from Mega Man 2. John and Ryan did not like how the dock robot stages themselves are just harder versions of levels we'd already played, but I personally kinda like that that? I like it when games give you a level with a particular theme or mechanic and then expand on those ideas in a later stage. The area my friends and I were in unison about is the Mega Man 2 bosses. Unanimously, we hated this inclusion, absolutely hated it. In Mega Man 2, there's weaknesses for each boss that makes some level of sense and is logical, but because of the weapons present in Mega Man 3, the weakness pairings in this game at times literally made no sense whatsoever. Now, Mega Man boss weaknesses are not always based in logic. However, there's also not 8 in a row that are completely nonsensical either. Additionally, these bosses deal way too much damage and are just worse across the board than the Robot Masters in Mega Man 3. I can't really articulate why, but the Mega Man 2 bosses just feel worse in Mega Man 3. I would have much preferred these stages to be the Robot Master boss rush emblematic of Mega Man games. If I were able to separate the Mega Man 2 bosses from these stages and just evaluate them on their own, I might have given this category's point to Mega Man 3. However, Mega Man 4 overall has better mid-game levels via its Cossack Castle. These levels are completely unique to the Robot Master stages, and their quality varies from great to decent. Each ends with its own boss, and after running through each game twice, Mega Man 4's pacing, flow, and difficulty curve is properly maintained at a consistent quality throughout all 4 Cossack Castle stages. The first and third stages are the real standouts to me. The first stage starts out on a frozen field, and later the player assaults the castle, ascending to the top. The third stage is mostly an auto-scroller, which doesn't happen too often in Mega Man games. It's a gimmick that works within the framework of Mega Man 4 without hurting the overall quality of the game or the levels therein. My favorite boss from the Cossack Fortress is from this third stage. The Cockroach Twins are 2 bots that crawl on the ceiling above and the spiked floor beneath the player. It's a matter of timing shots with drill bombs while dodging incoming blaster fire to smash these robots to smithereens. This point puts Mega Man 4 at 14 points. Will Wily's Castles balance the scales? Full disclosure, I have never liked the final levels of Mega Man games. I don't necessarily hate them, as I think some, like the ones in Mega Man X, are pretty fun. However, most of the time, the Wily and Sigma stages at the end of each game kind of ruins the experience in my opinion. Now, I know that's probably a hot take among Mega Man fans, but even as someone who really does like these games, the final stages of Mega Man titles just don't live up to the quality of those in the Robot Master or Maverick levels most times. It's to the credit of Mega Man 3 and 4 then that they do have moments within their respective Wily Castles that I do like. I don't like anything in these sections better than each game's Robot Master levels, let's not get crazy here, but there are things that do make these stages feel like great additions to each game, rather than something I'm loath to replay again. In Mega Man 3, I literally love how the Yellow Devil Mark II builds upon the design of the original Yellow Devil in ways that make it more fun to fight. The original Yellow Devil is learnable, no doubt, but losing against it is so punishing that it ruins the experience of trying to learn how to defeat it. Losing to Yellow Devil Mark II is less punishing because the level preceding it is less annoying to replay and the boss is easier to learn. I don't necessarily love or hate the final boss fight against Wily in this game, but I do think the implications of this robot being weak to Search Snake is incredibly hilarious.
I really hate you so fucking much right now.
Snakes?
I've never hated anyone more right now.
God, the snakes. The snake guy wasted so much of my money on his stupid
You can get 3 of them in there.
You know how much money I lost? Here I was thinking he was designing a super special...
I spent $10 billion on this mech, and you put a King Cobra inside my cockpit.
Why would I ever design anti-snake defenses?
This final form is actually weak to Top Man's Power 2, which is actually the best use case of that entire weapon. In Mega Man 4, I actually really like both of the final boss fights against Wily. On our first playthrough, my friends and I hated them because we had so much fun using all of Mega Man's weapons that we were just too low on all of Wily's weaknesses to have a good time. On my personal playthrough though, I preserved weapon power in preparation for them, which massively improved my experience. As of right now, I would actually place these 2 Wily fights as my favorite in the series in terms of Mega Man final bosses. I especially like the way the final boss fight utilizes the darkness mechanics introduced in Bright Man's stage. Because of the way this fight and the stages themselves better utilize the mechanics and provide a play space in which to really enjoy the game's weapon suite and mobility tools, I'm giving this point to Mega Man 4. This brings Mega Man 4's total to 15 points and widens the distance between the two games. It was definitely a difficult decision to make, but this video, down to its core foundation, was always going to be a hard idea to parse and properly delineate. Mega Man 4 is going to win in this category as well, mainly because of the fact that the game maintains a constant and balanced difficulty curve for the entirety of its runtime. With the insane difficulty spike of those Mega Man 2 bosses in Mega Man 3, it's hard to want to revisit that game for that reason alone. If it weren't for those, I may have given the edge here to Mega Man 3 because the higher difficulty floor of that game begets a higher difficulty ceiling, providing the player with another reason to replay. Pound for pound, level for level, and boss for boss, Mega Man 4's approach to difficulty and a scaffolded learning curve just makes the game better, and between the two, I'm more excited at the prospect of replaying Mega Man 4 as a result. To me, difficulty is content and is an important aspect of the value proposition a game presents. However, difficulty needs to be properly balanced and scaffolded too, and this is what Mega Man 4 does that Mega Man 3 doesn't. This puts Mega Man 4 at a total of 16 points, and while the game is definitely pulling ahead when these game-wide design elements are considered, it's not over until the fat lady sings. Mega Man 3 has better music. It's really as simple as that. The title theme in this game is just a cut above anything the rest of the mainline Mega Man series has, and it is on par with tracks in Mega Man X, X2, and X4, which all have fantastic OSTs of their own. I mean, just listen to some of the music in this game. The songs themselves will explain what I mean far better than I could possibly describe. I just lack the vocabulary to explain with words alone. Now compare these with some of the tracks present in Mega Man 4's OST. It's not like Mega Man 4's music is bad. I like many of the tracks it has, but Mega Man 3's music is just better. With this category's point, Mega Man 3's total becomes 13, which is not too shabby at all. In terms of art direction, Mega Man 4 is the clear winner here as well. Whether it's the rain in Toadman's stage, the snowy section on the first Cossack Castle level, or the sprite work on the various mini-bosses and Robot Master unique enemies, Mega Man 4 is a clear advancement in Capcom's famously masterful 90s era sprite work. Mega Man 3 doesn't look half bad on its own, but it does periodically have things that just aren't appealing to the eye, such as the flashing elements on Sparkman's stage. This is something my friends and I unanimously agreed on too, bringing Mega Man 4's point total to 17. But which game is more innovative? Both Mega Man 3 and 4 innovate upon the Mega Man formula in fantastic ways. Mega Man 3 adds the slide, rush abilities, machine gun shot, and hints at Capcom's move towards better boss design. Mega Man 4 adds the charge shot, streamlined menuing, secret mobility tool upgrades hidden within Dive Man and Pharaoh Man stages, and better boss design and AI. The things each game adds are truly amazing, but I'm going to have to give this category to Mega Man 4 as well. The improved menuing and charge shot is something the X series would expand upon a few years later, and the improved boss design is truly a move in the right direction for this series. The inclusion of secrets within the stages is something X would take and run with as well, and these sorts of elements are what really sets up that sub-series, and hopefully later Mega Man titles. This brings Mega Man 4's total to 18, and the final metric by which to compare these two games is their overall weapon viability. Robot Master and Maverick weapon viability is something Mega Man has consistently struggled with. No game in the series, that I've played at least, has managed to create a weapon suite that is completely useful. Most games in the franchise can make a few weapons that have multiple use cases, but it's far more common that Mega Man games will have a couple weapons that are just so much better than anything else that there's little reason to want to use the entire arsenal the game provides. Mega Man 3's weapons are hit or miss, but the glaring issue in this game's arsenal is top spin. What does that do?
Do that again.
I can't.
Is that to deflect things or something?
It just.
Oh, it's a melee attack.
Okay.
What the fuck?
What?
That's pretty good.
It doesn't always fire. Oh, you have to be in the air. You can't do it on the ground.
Oh, interesting.
You're beautiful.
I am. Thank you for noticing.
Can it deflect?
Yeah, try that. No, go. Just do this for me. Once.
Okay.
Oh, it destroys projectile. So it can destroy any projectile. What happened there? What if that happened?
Thanks for trying for me.
I did it for Ryan.
Did it just drain your
I
power?
drained all my
completely
power
empty?
because it was hitting an indestructible enemy.
Oh.
And it drains every time you kill something. So I'm guessing what happens is I was contacting and it was applying damage every tick. So will that just melt bosses?
Got sent to the Shadow Realm.
Topspin only has two primary use cases. It's good against Shadow Man and the final Wily boss. This doesn't change the fact that the power is completely lackluster in every other situation the player can find themselves. Mega Man 4's worst weapon is Flash Stopper, but this thing does have some real use cases. It completely destroys Pharaoh Man, and the player doesn't have to worry about sacrificing their own safety in the way they do with Topspin as well. Additionally, Flash Stopper is fantastic against the I-Ring mini-bosses in Ring Man's level. Beyond Flash Stopper, all, like every single one, of Mega Man 4's weapons are incredibly useful. One of the things that made the final bosses of this game difficult for my friends and I on our co-op playthrough is how we use most of our weapon power up by experimenting with all the tools in our arsenal. There's not one weapon that steals the show, and when I played the game solo, I found myself constantly weapon swapping all the time. The number of use cases per weapon is impressive, especially considering the fact that this game has the charged shot too. The charged Mega Buster is such an S-tier weapon in most Mega Man games that Maverick and Robot Master weapons just can't compete. But in this game, the charged shot is properly balanced against the Robot Master weapon suite in a way that complements the entire array of weapons. Because of this, Mega Man 4 is getting this section's point, bringing its grand total to 19. So when all things are considered, which game is better, Mega Man 3 or Mega Man 4? The final total for Mega Man 3 is 13 points, and the final score for Mega Man 4 is 19, meaning that Mega Man 4 is the better game when every metric I've covered in this video is taken into consideration. This makes Mega Man 4 the first game to ever win a Battle of the Best video on this channel, which is a review format I'd like to do again in the future. Now, I never end a review of any kind without saying whether the games I'm talking about are going to make my top 100 or not. Mega Man 3 will not be making my top 100 list for the 90s. However, Mega Man 4 will. It'll be entering the list in the blue category, which means it may be pushed out if I play better games down the line. As of this moment in time, Mega Man 4 is my second favorite Mega Man game, right behind Mega Man X. And I understand why so many people put it so high on their respective rankings of the Mega Man games. And that's the video, my guys. What did you think of this review format? I'd like to pit Fallout and Fallout 2 against each other next, so let me know what you think. This video was a true labor of love to put together, and my friends and I are stoked to continue with the Mega Man franchise over the course of this year. If you liked this video, subscribing and ringing the notification bell is the only way to ensure you don't miss out on my reviews of Mega Man 5, 6, and 7 later this year. My friends and I are committed to reviewing each of the mainline Mega Man games and the 4 Zero GBA games afterward. After you've smashed the like button, let's talk about everything Mega Man in the comments below, and if you have a moment right now, consider checking out one of my other videos on the screen. Regardless of what you choose to do, thank you for keeping it real with Rayl Deal Games. Have an awesome day, my friend.